Before calling to make a service appointment on your built-in vacuum system, you want to have a good idea of what the issue is. By taking a few minutes to check some simple things, you may end up actually solving the problem yourself and avoiding the need for a service call. A lot of times, especially when you're not cleaning your own house, when you have somebody coming to do it for you, you'll get a report that the vacuum is not working, and so you call and you set up an appointment. Well, a lot of times I get into a house and I see that the issue is something that was so simple it could have been taken care of. In just a few minutes you wouldn't have had to wait for a service call or pay for a service call. So figure out if the system is running at all, if it's running and just has low suction, suction meaning at the end of the hose, or if the suction is good but it has poor pickup, meaning off the floor or off the carpet. Starting with whether or not it runs. Plug the cord in if you have an electrical hose. Plug the hose in. Normally you plug the hose in so that the top of the hose is either at the very top or the very bottom of the wall inlet, and you flip the switch. If the switch has 3 positions, middle being off, the suction needs to turn on when the switch is both to the left and to the right. Switching to the right also operates the power head, but it is possible for the switch to not turn on the central vac unit and to only turn on the power head. And that would cause you to be making noise thinking you're vacuuming, but you're not. You need a new switch in your hose. If neither switch position causes the central vac unit to turn on, here's a trick. Take the hose and turn it 90 degrees to the left or to the right, and see if the unit starts then. You can use the system that way. You're just bypassing the switch, and what that tells you is that you have a bad hose or a bad switch. If the hose looks nice and not kinked here, then it's probably the switch. But if it's all worn out here because somebody's been storing it in the closet connected to the wand, then you probably just need to replace the whole hose. If it still doesn't activate when you do this, the last thing I would say to check is bring something else, another appliance, down to the main central vac unit and plug it into the outlet that central vac unit is plugged into. Make sure that outlet has power. You might just have to flip the breaker in your electrical panel. So that's that. When you gauge the suction of the system, you not only want to pay attention to this, you want to listen for the flow. That sound is what the flow of air is producing, and that's what picks up the dirt, not this. If you have good flow here, make sure it reaches the bottom of the power head. You can't really feel the suction down here. This feels like barely anything, but I can hear that it's flowing. It's possible for something large to have lodged its way in here, and then you have suction here, but not down on the carpet. Look in here for a playing card or a clothing tag or something like that to have clogged this up. If you don't have suction here, or if the suction is very weak, the most common place for something to get caught would be in the bend in the hose. I've pulled out pens, pencils, bottle caps, things like that are just the right size that they can go in here, but they can't make it through this bend. They put this here on purpose so that something gets caught where you can get to it instead of in the middle of the hose. Same thing in the wall. People are always afraid of a clog in their central vac piping. If it's installed properly, it just doesn't clog. It shouldn't, ever. And the tightest turn in the system is supposed to be the one right behind the wall inlet, and every turn further down in the system is longer than that. So if you get a pen or a pencil or something, it's going to stop right there if the system is installed properly. And that would affect only one inlet. So if you know that one part of the house is working but another part of the house has no suction at all, then that's what I would look at. If you have suction, but you're still not picking up on the carpet, but this is running, it probably needs a new belt. Sometimes this will be not moving at all, but the thing will be making noise, then the belt is broken. But more often, before the belt breaks, it stretches out. So this is moving when you look at it, it's spinning around. As soon as you set it down on the carpet, it stops. And then it's not grooming, it's not picking up the threads. If your carpets don't look like freshly mown grass when they're done being vacuumed, you probably need a belt in your power head. Another issue that happens over time is when you're pushing and pulling this, the power head is turning off and on, off and on. Examine this connection. This will wear out, especially if the operator is disconnecting this while the power head is running. You always want to turn off before you disconnect. If these connectors are all burned and corroded, then you need to have the cord on the power head replaced, and you need to have the receptacle in the hose replaced. And that's something that a vacuum store can do without paying for somebody to come out to the house to fix that, unless you want me to come to your house, and then I'd be happy to. My contact information is below. I service all of Chicagoland. Thank you for watching.